Blizzard and bad decisions, a combination more iconic than peanut butter and jelly. They're no strangers to making the most bafflingly awful choices they can with their products and their community, but today's is a little special. They've decided to start cracking down on profanity in Overwatch, a game that is rated T for teen, not W for weenies. It's rated T with mild language being one of the reasons, so there's already some swearing present in the game by default. However, if a player, like a human being, engages in some naughty language, they can just get banished to the Shadow Realm for it. So collegiate Overwatch player has been banned for 30 days after saying fuck and shit in his chat logs, a decision that will end his college career as he'll be unable to participate in his last tournament. It's a complete non-issue. It's not like he was spamming slurs or anything. He said some simple swear words. Club Penguin was more lenient on cussing than Overwatch, it seems. Getting banished to the Shadow Realm because you said shit in-game is incomprehensible, especially a competitive game like Overwatch. That's going to happen, and yet for some reason, the hall monitors at the Blizzard support staff are left aghast, literally shocked that people would say the word shit in-game. And they stand by this decision, by the way. It wasn't a mistake. They actually fight tooth and nail trying to explain that they don't appreciate and will not allow profanity in Overwatch. Despite having a profanity filter, no F-bombs are allowed for the player Derpy, and by extension, any other player, from what I can tell. They seem to make it a blanket statement that profanity is truly the devil, and it's not welcome in the holy household of Overwatch 2. It was upheld, templates are all you're going to get, appeals aren't for a discussion. In this particular case, profanity. F-bombs in any form are not acceptable. PJ. PJ is obviously the initials of the individual that mishandled this case, but I really think it's more applicable if it stands for profanity janitor. Like, they just have one kind of expert who's perpetually offended by any kind of foul language, and they just sick the hound on the entire Overwatch community, making sure that he goes on a banning rampage if he starts saying things like fuck in the game. So anyway, they seem very upset at the idea of F-bombs in Overwatch. So, a user pointed out, why would you even have a profanity filter if using profanity is a bannable offense? Why not just blacklist those words and lead to a chat ban instantly? Why even have a profanity filter? Which is a great point. You have to turn off the profanity filter, meaning you are making the conscious decision to see some less than stellar language being tossed around, less than proper words. Why would you ban people for turning it off and then using those words? You wouldn't even have the profanity filter in the first place. This just showcases how this has truly come out of nowhere. It's a fucking stupid decision. But here, let's dive a little bit more in depth on exactly what's happening here. Overwatch 2 players are getting banned for swearing and they're not thrilled. Blizzard's customer service is in hot water after a series of exchanges about Overwatch 2's profanity rules caught the attention of the community and subsequently went viral. Apparently, profanity of any kind is considered against the hero shooter's code of conduct, and if someone reports it, seemingly regardless of context, you will get banned. The Overwatch community isn't thrilled with this new ruling, nor Blizzard's customer service representative's response. The saga started on April 12th when user Derpy82 posted a tweet asking for a response from Blizzard about their Overwatch 2 account being banned. The user attempted to use the native customer support features, figuring out why they were banned. It was only getting automated responses. It was in accordance to the terms. Yeah. I thought this was a professional player. I thought that's where it started. Blizzard's customer service representative responded to the post saying the ban was enacted due to inappropriate language in text chat, including the use of the F word and SH word, which is fuck and shit. Not exactly the most extreme profanity. He's not dropping slurs. Coming from a game where half the playable hero roster swears, and one of them even has the initials BAMF, which is badass motherfucker, on their belt. It's an odd blanket rule to throw over Overwatch 2, but nevertheless, it is the code of conduct that mentions you may not use language that could be offensive or vulgar to others. The customer service rep pointed out that it is literally in the first section of the code of conduct under communication. Response to the tweet has largely been mocked for considering profanity inherently vulgar and for the flippant response from customer service. One user said that Blizzard should be banning people who use slurs and send death threats over people using profanity, to which customer service account responded in a since deleted tweet. Then report them, Joy. Wow. That was tough. That was hard. As you can imagine, this was not warmly received by community members like Streamer SK. Did Blizzard hire a bunch of youth pastors to run Blizz CS account? Why are they so concerned about policing people for saying fuck and shit in Overwatch all of a sudden? There are more than enough people dropping slurs and being weird in match chat for you to keep your jobs. That's so true, though. That is a really weird thing to get hung up on. Blizzard keeps doing their best to kill Overwatch. It does seem like it. It really does seem like it. Banning the people still left in there. No swearing on my Christian Minecraft server vibes. That is the vibe here. I really wonder why. I feel like they're trying so hard to make it the safe space that they're aiming for, and they've made it the most aggressively toxic place and like the most fearful place, or even just out of context words like shit are enough to get you banned. That's like the most unsafe place imaginable for everybody. Blizzard can't stop taking L's. Not when it comes to Overwatch, it seems. They made one really good change with their esports league, dropping OWL entirely and changing that. But man, everything else, what in the fuck? I'm honestly pretty curious if this is going to extend beyond just the text chat in Overwatch. Like if PJ gets a little too much dip on their chip and goes on a power trip and starts going through like Overwatch 2 streamers on Twitch, waiting to see if they start saying bad words and then banning them in-game for bringing profanity into the Overwatch community. I feel like it's not that far-fetched. They clearly don't want swearing in their Overwatch 2 environment. So, will he start doing that to, like, sponsored streamers in the future who are representing Overwatch but then saying things like fuck and shit, the forbidden words? I think probably unlikely, but it's not impossible to imagine that world, because we're already living in the loony dimension here if you're getting banned for saying things like shit in a video game. It honestly shows just how little the Overwatch team understands its community. I don't know who they think the audience is that's playing Overwatch 2. They must really think that it's bubble blowing double babies or something in Overwatch that can't handle words like shit. I can promise you, no players in your game are being offended and left with tears in their eyes if someone says fuck in a text chat Overwatch. Like, it's not happening. It's not happening at all. And yet, people are getting banned for it. It's so stupid. I don't think they recognize just how unbelievably ridiculous that concept is. Like, actual kindergarten classrooms are more understanding of bad words than Overwatch. But anyway, I want to move on to another pseudo Blizzard L here, because this one is also just so fucking stupid that came out of nowhere. The former head of Blizzard piped up and made a stupid statement saying that you should have the option of tipping developers once you finish a really good game. So you'd be paying $70 for the title and then tip on top of that once you finish, which is an outlandish idea from so many different angles. But the most obvious one is that money that you would tip in this fantasy land would not ever see the pockets of a developer that worked on it. It would just go right to the publisher and nobody else. It is so dumb. Yeah, I saw the Blizzard dev say that tipping developers isn't a bad idea. I have not seen that, Aston, but I can look it up. The former boss of Blizzard Entertainment has suggested a post-purchase tip feature that would let players give $10 to $20 extra to the developers of special games. That's definitely not going to the developers, that's just going to the studio. The developers won't see a dime of that shit. Former Blizzard president Mike Ybarra tweeted that he's often felt that upon completion of a particularly enjoyable single-player game, he'd like to give more money to the developers because it was worth more than my initial $70 and they didn't try to nickel and dime me every second. I don't know what world you're living in. I don't know what he's playing. Most of the $70 games that are coming out are really kind of half-baked and focused on trying to nickel and dime you. Games Ybarra mentioned that had sparked such a feeling include Guerrilla's Horizon Zero Dawn, Sony Santa Monica's God of War, Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption 2, Larian's Baldur's Gate 3, and some From Software's Elden Ring.
I know $70 is already a lot, but it's an option at the end of the game I wish I had at times. Some games are that special. It's fair to say that the reaction to the suggestion is mixed, with many people saying they're already forking out plenty of money for video games. Others have pointed out that some game platforms such as itch.io already allow tips, and that small indie developers often use established platforms for donations. Many have also pointed out that any extra revenue generated through these tips would invariably end up in the pockets of the publishers as opposed to the developers themselves, at least for the majority of AAA releases, and if such a system were to hit the likes of Steam, the PlayStation Store, or Xbox Store, would Valve, Sony, and Microsoft all expect a cut? Yeah, of course they would. 100%. It's a stupid idea. On the other hand, others have backed the idea. Paul Kilduff Taylor, what a name, Kilduff Taylor, of Mode 7 Games tweeted, "People have discovered various ingenious ways to be angry about this, but adding a pay more if you want option to major stores would straightforwardly be excellent for devs. It works very well on Bandcamp." Yeah, it works well on Bandcamp because it's people independently releasing those projects. They actually see the money, the pay what you want model. The devs aren't going to see this shit. Like it mentions up here, the platforms are going to want to cut, and the publishers are mainly going to get that tip. Doesn't help the devs at all. No, this isn't like a real thing they're implementing or anything. This is just the former Blizzard heads saying that it's a cool idea. Ybarra ended his post acknowledging that the tipping idea won't be for everyone. "I know most will dislike this idea," he said. "By the way, I realize we are tired of tipping and everything else, but I view this different from a pressure to tip type scenario many face and give feedback on." I don't know why you'd view it differently. It's kind of just the same thing. They've added tipping to self-checkout machines, man. Tipping your landlord. Ugh. That was just a meme. That wasn't like a real movement they were trying to make. How else do we keep the robots in check? Yeah, I tipped the Walmart self-checkout machine as an investment into my safety in the future. He'll remember that. Tipping in general is just crazy to me. As a European, nobody's job should depend on it. I know, man. It's tragic. But it's not like there's nothing to really do to fight back against it. If you refuse to tip, the only person you're hurting is like the normal person that's working the job. So I always tip a lot. But I really do hate that they're not paid a decent wage for the work they do and instead have to rely on people to tip. It's fucking stupid. It is so stupid. RNG income. True. Yeah, RNG income. Some owners of places take the tips behind closed doors. One of the largest streamers on the planet just caught a permaban from Twitch. Adin Ross. I'm sure this is a name you've heard of by now. He's absolutely blown up over the last couple years. And last night, he got banned again. This is far from his first rodeo. He's actually a veteran in this field. He's gluttonous when it comes to Twitch bans. He's eaten those puppies like muffins out of the oven. This is his 8th ban, and by far his most severe. As of right now, it seems like this is a permanent ban from the platform, and just like the mystery of why I'm so short, the reason for it is unknown as of this moment. However, a lot of people, including myself, have been speculating as to what the cause could have been. Recently, there's been this unholy floodgate, like a dam that's broken in the mind of Adin Ross's brain, that's led to him making the worst decisions imaginable over the last couple months. So you might not be familiar with Adin Ross Twitch streams, but you've probably heard his name because this goofy goober streamed the Super Bowl on Kick. He just streamed the entire Super Bowl watching it without permission from the NFL. It's not like he had some kind of like back alley handshake deal with Fox or the NFL to rebroadcast it. I'm pretty sure Adin Ross can't even spell the word license, so he didn't have the rights to restream that shit, but he just still fucking went hog wild with it. Now, nothing has come from it yet. I don't know if anything will. As I understand it, in cases like this, the lawsuits take a couple months before they start to actually form. So if they do decide to pursue action, it probably wouldn't have happened now anyway. It'd still be a couple months out. That's if they even decide to. Then there's no telling if they will. But clearly it's a huge no-no to freely rebroadcast without the rights the biggest American broadcast. You can't do that. It's illegal. Now, let's say you haven't heard of that fumble that Adin Ross recently did with the Super Bowl thing. Maybe you've heard of him over the last week or so because he also just freely streamed porn on Kick. While streaming, Adin Ross decided to go to Pornhub, I guess to make a point about how you can do anything on the site. And he just he showed porn to his audience, and keep in mind, a lot of his audience is very young. They're minors, they're actual children. Now, he's not going to face like a felony charge from this that I've seen a lot of people say he might, because in the stream title, I believe he had 18 plus there, which I guess is a legal safety net for him to fall back on. But everyone knows Adin Ross viewers are skewed very, very young. So it's still a very fucking creepy and weird thing to do, especially with that audience and on stream. Now, what makes this really interesting is how hypocritical it is, because Adin Ross has recently come out very hard against porn. He's taken up the Master Shield and he's blocking anything sexual. He's made these very huge statements about how porn will ruin your life and addiction to porn is gonna send you straight to hell and it's gonna make everything in your life miserable. And he's not wrong. Addiction in any form is life ruining. Porn addiction is a super insidious one that absolutely does ruin lives. But he's taken this stance of porn is the devil. It's the ultimate evil. And then he turns around and watches porn on stream. He just hasn't been making smart choices. It's just been one bad decision after another from him recently. And also, it didn't help that a few clips from his previous streams started going viral on Twitter, and people were calling him racist for those clips. Now, I haven't seen all of them, I've only watched one of them, and to me, it seemed more like a shitty joke that was poorly done, as opposed to evidence of him being a legitimate racist. But I haven't seen all of them, so I don't really know for sure or anything like that. But the only reason I'm even mentioning those clips is because this is another thing people are pointing to as a potential reason for his Twitch ban. But anyway, after his ban on Twitch, he did go live on Kick like an hour or so later in order to talk about the whole situation. And my god, that devolved into complete unhinged lunacy. Holy shit. That went wacko mode off rip. It was brutal. He went from like talking about the general situation immediately into trying to bring on actual Nazis. And I don't use that fucking word lightly. I hate that the word Nazi has become so meaningless and watered down. Literally everyone gets called a Nazi now if it's even a slight disagreement on even a trivial opinion. When I say Nazi, I mean an actual neo-Nazi, a self-proclaimed Nazi. Adin Ross wanted to bring on to stream to learn from, I guess, or interview. Super weird idea. He was on some goofy shit. He even asked Trainwrecks if men can get raped, and then made it seem like he doesn't think that's possible. Like, that whole concept of a man can also be the victim of rape, like, that was lost on him. Like, it didn't compute in his mind.
So just keep your eye there. You know what I'm saying? Keep your eye on every
I have a
corner.
question. Can guys get raped?
Yes.
Guys can get raped?
Yes.
Can you give me an example?
It works the exact same way. It just, right? Like, we can talk about it later, and you can ask me and we can clarify things. But yes, men can get raped too, yes.
Okay. Thanks, Train.
All right, bro.
Thanks, Train.
It's baffling that that even needed an explanation for him. And the fact that he even got combative about it, like, give me an example, is super concerning. You can hear Train is also surprised and stunned, like, what? Like, you can't be serious. But this is, again, just only another small piece of how off the rails this stream went. So it devolved into absolute wild madness, much to the chagrin of Trainwrecks, Trainwrecks being one of the owners of Kick. Train was literally in a call with him trying to, like, talk him down from these terrible ideas and literally advising him not to do half the shit that he wanted to because of how bad it made the entire site look and what that opened the site up to and the reputational risk associated with all of it. So it was just a complete disaster from top to bottom, but he did say something that shed light on his ban.
Did they tell you why you got banned, or like not them specifically, but like in the email?
Yo, Blood, thanks for the host, bro. Okay, so yes. I got banned for basically, I actually, I don't know if I should say that publicly. My legal team is advising me not to, but
And don't say, yeah.
But Train, what I will say is this though. What I got banned for makes no sense because I haven't. It said all I can say is it occurred on. It says it occurred on stream or on VOD. It wasn't occurred like somewhere else. It basically was occurred on my stream or on my VOD. So it makes no sense. Does that make sense?
A little confusing here, but as I understand it, Twitch is claiming that something Adin Ross did happened on their service, whether on stream or on one of the Twitch VODs, and it seems Adin disagrees with that, thinking that whatever they're talking about happened elsewhere. I believe is the situation. It's a little hard to follow since he and his team aren't revealing what exactly the reason is, but it seems they were given a reason, which is more than a lot of people get. Usually with a Twitch ban, they don't ever tell you what the fuck you got banned for, you just have to guess yourself, which is always such a fucking headache. And I also think this highlights a problem with Twitch and the way they handle bans. I don't understand why they don't just publicize the reason themselves. That would make every situation significantly more transparent for everyone, the streamer, the community, literally everyone. Unless it's like an actual legal matter, I don't see why they don't just reveal the violation that the streamer made. But I'm getting a little sidetracked. Adin Ross did get banned on Twitch. They did give him a reason. They haven't revealed it. Him and his team have not revealed what it is yet. I don't know if they will or if they're planning to anytime soon, but they do have a reason, and it seems Adin thinks it's nonsense, and it seems like whatever they're pointing out as the cause, they're arguing happened on their platform, while Adin seems to disagree with that. But yeah, that's where this whole situation's at. This happened while I was streaming last night, so I saw most of it unfold in real time. I'll go ahead and play you some clips where I started making other speculative guesses, some potential game theories on what Twitch may have slapped him for. I don't think any of them are good reasons. If any of these are accurate, I don't think they are, but I'll still show you these anyway, just in case one of these does turn out to be one of the actual reasons. I'll look like a fucking genius for getting it right, I suppose. Though again, I don't necessarily think any of these are good reasons. This must have actually just happened, like, during this stream right now. Because there is nothing on Twitter about it. Here, let's check LSF. Usually they're hot on the case of everything. Nothing on LSF. Oh, no, wait, here. It's in the Rising from 10 minutes ago. Yep, Adin Ross just got banned. Did he do anything recently on Twitch? I know he showed the porn on Kick and all that, but did he do anything on Twitch? Oh, true, he did make that statement about moving the Kick. I don't know if that's a violation of Twitch's terms or something. They didn't ban Ninja when he moved to Mixer. He went live on Twitch saying he's live on Kick. Is he live right now on Kick talking about it? Well, immediately got porn. I just wanted to... Jesus, I just wanted to see if he was live, and it's just immediately porn. But yeah, I don't know if that's true with what Chatter said there. If you go to the streamer bans, it says the ban was 12 minutes ago. Yeah, this is fresh. This is right off the press. This shit still got steam coming out of it. Well, it looks like he's gonna have to really jump in with both feet on Kick now since he's no longer got Twitch. Hope you already signed that contract, because if not, oh boy. I hope for Adin's sake he already signed that Kick deal, because otherwise Kick is going to negotiate the fuck out of him to bring it way down. They made him a seriously high offer. It wasn't 150 mil, but they gave him a bag. Like, offered him a bag to move to Kick, but that was under the assumption that he'd have Twitch. Like, they had to get him off of Twitch, because he's already got a huge audience on Twitch. But if that's gone, they no longer need that bag because he has really not many other options. YouTube's not going to pay him to go to YouTube, I doubt. So Kick is going to really negotiate hardball on him, I think. So hopefully he already signed that contract. Otherwise, he just missed out on a lot. God damn. They must have accidentally CC'd Twitch reps on those contract negotiation emails and they wanted to fuck him up. He can still go to Facebook Gaming. True. There's always Facebook Gaming, I guess. No, I don't think they banned him because of his whole Kick stuff. Because, I mean, Train literally owns Kick, or at least a part of Kick, and he still actively streams on Twitch. He's not banned. So I don't think that was their reasoning for it. Something must have happened, or, maybe they actually did take the off-platform porn broadcast into consideration. I really couldn't tell you. Why was his Kick stream bannable on Twitch? I don't know if it was or not. I'm only speculating on potential reasoning, because I don't think he was live over the last couple days. I'm just taking spitballs, just like everyone else. Is the kill yourself thing bannable? Again, I don't know if Twitch actually enforces the off-platform behavior rules. I think that was just meant as like a scare tactic, like a little boogeyman thing to keep in mind. The whole kill yourself thing was the message he sent to Jake, who reported on him streaming porn on Kick. He sent him a message saying, keep yourself safe, KYS, and then like a little smiley face at the end. I don't think that would have been why Twitch banned him. I have no clue. 2 days ago, a great injustice was had in the cyberspace. Gotham was threatened with their most terrifying cyber attack yet. An unforgivable sin was committed in the holy battlegrounds of Apex Legends. I made a video thoroughly going over the topic 2 days ago, but I'll break it down real quick for you since we have a development here.
So there was a Apex Legends tournament hosted by an org called Fate Legion, and during the tournament, a teammate teabagged another teammate. So it was a friend teabagging a friend as a joke, and they laughed about it. But you know who wasn't laughing? The tournament host. The man casting the tournament blew a fucking gasket once he saw the teabagging. He had a reaction to it like he had just watched his own house be set on fire. Just some kind of massive meltdown over this teabagging event, and then said that not only is the player, Dilly, the one who teabagged, banned, but the entire team is banned from the tournament and future tournaments because of the teabagging. And even when it was brought to his attention that they didn't teabag an enemy, it was two friends joking with each other on the same team, he said it didn't matter because teabagging your teammate isn't professional and it's toxic no matter what, and they won't tolerate it. So going on this massive meltdown and this huge power trip, he made a mockery of both himself and the entire org that he represents. So they started getting slammed and jammed on Twitter, just getting dunked on left and right, and they got their ham steamed. But today, they released a statement with their account of the situation, and it is the worst doubling down I have ever seen. Oh, really? What was their statement? Check the Fate Legion Twitter. They made a statement about the Apex teabagging 20 minutes ago. Oh, this is fresh. Oh, we're on the cutting edge right now. This is, oh my god, this is actually one of those moments where it's like too long, didn't read. I'm not reading all that, but good for you, or sorry that it happened. How can you make such a huge statement off of an absolute embarrassment? Just say like, yeah, this was silly. We banned Apex Predator that goes by Dilly. The facts around the situation have been 100% altered to suit the creator's needs for the narrative he needed to start a riot on social media. Interesting spin. Going for the it's all lies approach, even though our caster literally said these things. I don't really know what context spins it differently. It has the exact moment that Dilly teabagged his teammate, and his initial response was, he's banned. All of Crazy Penguins disqualified. But I guess we'll see. Maybe I'll be convinced. That's super weird, though, because in that clip, it shows your caster acknowledging Dilly's statements on it being his teammate. What do you mean he didn't provide any proof? Your caster even acknowledged it. He literally said, so it's your teammate, but it's still not okay. What do you mean? Oh, it's too small for you guys to read? You guys can't read this on stream? I'm just going to do summaries. So basically this first statement, this first paragraph, is saying that it was a heat of the moment thing and we're sorry about that, but we did decide to let them play it out and they received their prize winnings at the end. He was never given a formal ban, just a verbal one, which they would have overturned if Dilly provided any evidence, which he didn't, even though he did, because the caster acknowledged that it was his teammate during the broadcast, so the evidence was clearly enough to convince the caster. But I'll digress. And then he said, and then they say that Dilly altered the VODs in order to slander the tournament. Oh, okay, I'll just read it out loud. It'll save me some trouble. Having said that, we are willing to ignore the admin abuse he sent as opposed to banning him to rectify the heat of the moment commentating. Having said that, one of our members sent us a link to forum pages and other social media platforms where Dilly goes on a rant about the heat of the moment decision using his friends in influential positions to post on it to make a stir. He said there were no rules in place during the tournament, but that is false as we do have rules in place. Having said this, we acknowledge that our rules are broad and don't speak specifically to the act itself. We are currently rewriting them so it's easier to understand and apologize for the inconvenience we have caused to do this. The ban, however, went from unsportsmanlike conduct to his permanent ban due to his actions of trying to start a hate slander campaign against Fate Legion. His friend, who is an influencer on Twitter, Jake Lucky, decided to get involved and ask everyone to passive-aggressively come join our community Discord and speak to us on the subject. Jake Lucky even goes as far as to drop owner's in-game name and other social media platforms to send what turned into a hate and death messages. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Dilly has never once spoken to Jake Lucky. This dude just peruses Twitter 24 hours a day and absolutely stumbled across this. I don't think they're friends. I think they are pulling this out of their ass. I don't think Dilly is connected to Jake Lucky. I don't think there's a chance of that. This is one of those stories that Jake always reports on. This could have been like a Shrek Super Slam drama and Jake would have posted a tweet about it. That man is always on the hunt. Also, he dropped their Discord to speak to them on this subject as well as their in-game names.
I didn't see any of that. He made 2 tweets, and neither one of them had that. So I don't know where that's coming from. I guess maybe he deleted them. I just don't even think that happened. Speaking of misinformation and facts, let us dive into them, shall we? Bro, this is your official statement as a brand, as an org, and you're gonna speak like a pretentious Redditor? Make a formal statement, not this drivel. Speaking of information and facts, let us dive into them, shall we, as they adjust their glasses, cracking their knuckles. As it stands, here was the old writing on the rules as well as our space. We aim and strive to provide sportsmanship-based competitive gaming, which stands as a pillar of our business. So in our space description alone, it is implied that we are a space that believes in good sportsmanship, which sportsmanship is defined as fair and generous behavior or treatment of others, especially in a sports contest. By no means in any way, shape, or form is crouching up and down repetitively on an enemy or friend any kind of sportsmanship. Furthermore, it is not about the players themselves, but the viewers watching the content as well. Studies have shown that toxic behavior in gaming, such as teabagging and shooting bodies, is a contagious event that will not stop due to the fact that it has always been around, so it is here to stay. What am I reading? What in the fuck is... What is hurting my eyes right now? What? Teabagging and shooting bodies is a contagious event that will not stop due to the fact that it's always been around, so it's here to stay. It's not the fucking T-virus. Like, it's just banter, basically. It's in-game taunting. It's no... Do they ban emoting? Because I could also use an emote in their own tournament, and would that be considered toxic? Like, what the fuck do you mean? And it was a teammate he did it to. It was 2 friends joking. If you didn't have your neighborhood watchdog spectating Dilly at that time, nobody would have been affected. There would have been 2 friends that had a bit of a giggle, and that would have been it. Situation never exists. But because you had an overly... I don't even know what to call it. Like, overly justice-driven vigilante hosting your tournament, he made a big hoopla about it, and he made your whole org look silly, and now you're dying on a stupid hill. This is a terrible statement. This is an absolutely awful statement right now. There was nothing unsportsmanlike about it. He didn't do it to another team. I would absolutely understand if he did it to another team, you could make an argument that it was unsportsmanlike. Fair. I would absolutely give you that. He did it to his friend on his team. This doesn't work. This is full-blown artesian builds, but with a much smaller company. Why are you doing this? He's white knighting, but for nobody. For literally nobody. For himself. There's nobody here. There's not a victim. Like, I don't know what they're trying to say, like, not only for the treatment of others in the contest, but the spectators as well. The viewers watching the contest. Do you think all of your viewers, when they saw Dilly crouch up and down on his teammate's death box, just fell out of their chair, clawing at their own eyes, trying to forget what they just saw, like a traumatic experience? And so this whole paragraph here was supposed to be about correcting misinformation, which they didn't do. In the first paragraph of your statement, you're saying that Dilly slandered you and misrepresented you, and the facts are not there. It is manipulated, it is fraudulent. And in your paragraph where you're supposed to prove that it's fraudulent, you don't. In fact, you prove how vague and unenforceable your rules are. Because sportsmanship can be defined any way you want. It was him and his friend joking around. Like, no one was affected. So there was no sportsmanship violation. And then you go into this weird sentence about teabagging and shooting bodies being contagious. And that it's never going to stop, as if it's some kind of like the plague. Like the bubonic plague of gaming. Listen, they wrote this in 5-point font. I don't know what to tell you. I'm reading it to you. Okay? So just be patient as we digest this. This would be like punishing a pop-off of one of our Smash players. If that happened, I'd go nuts. Yeah, I'd go wild. This makes it a package deal that makes the action in general toxic due to the back-end nature that is used to demoralize players due to lack of skill. When players perform the act, they usually accompany it with negative wording to put other players down, regardless if they can hear or not. The only thing this action does is to try and assert one's dominance over another. How is this kind of behavior condoned? This doesn't even apply. It was his teammate, his friend. They were in a voice call, talking, joking. It wasn't used to demoralize a player due to lack of skill, nor was it accompanied with negative wording. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Just, it was so, it just really grinds my ass to see a company kill themselves so publicly and so avoidably, like with artesian builds. This is, I would say this is like on par, not as bad, because the company's not as strong, but like this is still just as tone deaf and misguided. It blows my mind. Like, how do you have a business when you're this out of touch? It saddens me to see high-end influencers and gaming media outlets posting stories on this with no fact-checking at all, of which you have so far provided none, by the way. In your statement all about misinformation and presenting the facts, you have presented none. You have only listed that you have a rule by your own admission that is too vague, and it doesn't apply to the situation. So there is no misinformation then, is what I'm gathering. These were the facts. Misinformation people use is like this ace in the hole kind of thing, like when you play that card you win. Like, no, it's misinformation, so I win. But you didn't prove anything here. The spread of misinformation has gotten so bad and out of control that Jake Lucky and Dilly are now being attacked for being the ones to ban, when in fact it was not. To clarify, Dilly and Jake Lucky had nothing to do with Fate Legion and the tournaments we organize and host. So disingenuous, what actually happened is Twitter brain-rotted zombies saw Jake Lucky's post, and people on Twitter are too fucking stupid to realize he was posting about a different org, so they messaged Jake asking why he'd ban them and be so soft. And now they're trying to make it sound like because the misinformation's gotten so bad, even they're being targeted. When it's a few rogue, dumb assholes. It's not a real thing here. They just posted misinformation to the point that they are now seeing backlash about their own posts about us. So no, they did not have anything to do with Dilly's ban. The reason it's taken us so long to release a statement was due to the fact of the riot these two started, with the sad reality that this post was made about an hour after the tournament. So instead of taking the clip he made for Twitter and submitting it as proof, he decided to take it to social media instead to have the people fight his appeal for him. He did. He went to you initially, and your caster acknowledged it. He literally said, I don't care if it's your teammate. It doesn't matter if it's your teammate, it's still toxic. And when challenged on it, he shut down the lobby, doubled down and saying it's still toxic if it's your own teammate. You can't teabag your own teammate. So he knew. Dilly took it to him first. To clarify to all, we are brand new to the tournament organizing, which was started about 3 months ago. We here at Fate Legion are not perfect, but strive to do our best to give a quality service within the entertainment and gaming industry. So to the accusations that we are some big tournament host currently is false. That I, the owner, or Fate Legion members have any power or authority to ban players from Apex Legends tournaments or games that are not hosted by Fate Legion is false, or that sexual assault was even thought about in the ban is false. If that's like vaguely talking about my video, I only mentioned that the timing is impressive because I just talked about that whole big hoopla on Twitter about teabagging being akin to sexual assault. No one's accusing them of that. I have not seen anyone say anything about that. Nor have I seen anyone saying that Fate Legion has the power to ban them from Apex. And also, they're underselling themselves. As far as I understand, Fate Legion is also one of the only orgs hosting moderately decent-sized tournaments. So, it's not that there's some, like, dumb, stupid org. Like, they are right now one of the few orgs hosting actual tournaments for high-level players outside of the ALGS or official tournaments. At this point, Dilly and Jake Lucky have broken Electronic Arts User Agreement in Chapter 6, Rules of Conduct, sub-point 45678 23 and 25, all for the purpose of showcasing a heated remark that was not set in stone and proven with their finished participation with the small Fate Legion tournament in question, as well as paid out in full earnings for the podium to finish. Oh my god. They did not. They're busting out the terms and conditions. I'll look those up, I'm curious. Chapter 6 of Electronic Arts User Agreement. Interfere with or disrupt another player's use of the EA service includes disrupting the normal flow of gameplay chat dialogue with the EA service, for example, using vulgar, harassing language, being abusive, excessive shouting, spamming, flooding, or hitting the return key repeatedly. You actually think that applies? Okay, Fate Legion, let's play by those rules. Your caster did this one, using vulgar or harassing language, being excessive, and shouting. He did that on stream, publicly, in your own professional tournament. So he broke the rule conduct. Ban him. Harass, threaten, bully, embarrass, spam, or do anything else to another player that is unwanted, such as repeatedly sending unwanted messages, personal attacks about race, sexual orientation. What? This also didn't happen because it was his teammate. This is crazy. That is the reality of the situation at hand. How powerful. What a big man behind this keyboard. Wasn't that one of your big statements on stream? You can hide behind this, but you wouldn't do it in the real world. He's really loving that keyboard right now to be super tough. Jesus Christ. Why couldn't you just take an L? You didn't even defend yourself. We at Fate Legion would like to apologize to the gaming community for the disruption this has caused you. As new tournament organizers, we simply wanted to put on the best and most respectable tournaments around, but came up short in our logistics. Due to the excitement of being granted the opportunity to host Apex Legends private lobbies. Again, we apologize for the turmoil caused by this incident and will strive to do better. This should have been your whole statement. This last paragraph, not all of this in the middle, or you play like Batman. This whole misinformation side arc didn't work because you didn't even provide evidence that there were misinformation. You literally just confirmed that the facts were right. You screamed misinformation and just confirmed the facts that we all know. I don't know what the fuck the point was. What a terrible statement. What is a safe environment for gaming? It's about teaching young players how to be good sportsmen, reinforcing positive communication in gaming communities worldwide, educating on polite commentary on all social platforms, and about having a good attitude. Your caster failed. What do you mean polite commentary? Dude was mauling hard, using vulgar language, and harassing, and engaging in arguments. I wouldn't necessarily say that's positive. That doesn't make me feel safe. I think that would make players afraid. Like, any minute now, your caster could hit a bong rip and just go in on someone for something really trivial. That doesn't sound safe. That is absolutely not sportsmanlike. He hit a bong rip in the same stream, I heard. I haven't seen the clip, but I heard that people started posting him ripping bongs. Jeez, wow, he sounded like an actual narc. I heard people were floating clips around of him taking bong rips on stream during the tournament. Which, again, isn't professional. See, now, here. This you could have used as an example of, okay, he was being mean in the chat, and that influenced our decision. But that never came up, because your caster engaged in this argument with him. You guys both went back and forth. But this would have been a point to you saying, like, it wasn't just the teabagging. His response to it is what made us, enforce the ban or something. Then it's like, okay, so he was in Twitch chat, understandably upset after the outburst from your caster, publicly shaming him, banning them. Okay, he used vulgar language. That was against the term, against your rule. Fair enough, but your caster did it too. Over nothing in the first place. There was no violation. He's rightfully upset. But okay, he violated one of your rules with the vulgar language. I don't know what the fuck they keep posting here. I don't know why they keep posting this. Oh, just to prove that they paid him $15? That was just never even I didn't see anyone questioning that. Was that something people were wondering? Did they get paid? How is paying $15 out, acquit you of everything? It's just not that. That wasn't what people were upset about. It was banning an entire team for teabagging a teammate. Their own teammate. No one cares. No one cares. No one asked. In 2 weeks, there has been 2 major cases where video game taunting has become a massive, massive issue online. Last time, it was in an Apex tournament where one player teabagged his teammate and the entire team got banned from all future tournaments that were hosted by that org. And before that, it was a player on Twitter making a giant thread about how teabagging in Valorant is traumatizing and is the same thing as real-world sexual assault. Even just mentioning that Twitter thread is painful, like gargling glass. Comparing video game teabagging to sexual assault just reflexively makes the human body want to vomit. It's so fucking gross. But The point is, over the last couple of weeks, teabagging in video games has become like the ultimate evil to some people, like Voldemort here. If you don't know, and I already know you all do, but I just want to explain it a bit further, teabagging in games is when you go over someone's body and you crouch up and down a few times. That's it. That's all. That's what's starting all of this controversy. And today, we reached the boiling point that's confirmed that we live in Weenie Hut Juniorville. 2 players were banned for talking about that Twitter thread about teabagging and sexual assault. They made posts saying that it's very silly and disrespectful to compare teabagging to sexual assault, which it objectively is. Anyone with half a brain would agree that it is outright disgusting to compare video game crouching to fucking sexual assault in the real world. It is asinine, and it's just downright wrong. And today, 2 pro players were officially banned by Riot Games for their statements on that subject. They made posts saying that it's wrong to compare crouching up and down in a video game to sexual assault, calling it silly, calling it stupid, and they received competitive bans from Riot Games. And not only that, they got doxxed by Riot publicly. Their full names in the headline of their bans. And their names, they didn't have public. They didn't want their full names out there. Instead of just giving their gamer tags or their their handles online, they gave their full fucking names. Just a huge, stinky, embarrassing blunder from Riot here. I think it's been, like 2 weeks? I made a video called Horrible Tweet I Can't Stop Thinking About, and it was all about that huge Twitter debate, wrong word for it, that huge Twitter clownery where someone made a giant thread all about how teabagging in video games is sexual assault. I'm sure you all remember that, right? A Twitter user made a giant case for why teabagging in Valorant is the same thing as real-world sexual assault, and it's traumatizing, this and that. Very silly stuff, very goofy. That was top-tier Chef Kiss's goofiness. And today, as of 7 hours ago, it turns out the account that posted that initially was affiliated with a professional Valorant team, as I understand it, and 2 people that also clowned at it on Twitter, who were professional Valorant pros, got banned for it. So I'm doing more than Riot did. They straight up doxed them. So the 2 pros that obviously joked about that horrible take on teabagging being sexual assault, they got competitively banned, and then Riot doxed them. They said, like, in order to protect the identity of the person who started the tweet, we've kept their identity to person A. And then in the next sentence says, but these 2 pros, and gives their full name, both of their names, not like their gamer tags or anything, just their full names, and said, but these 2 are now banned for vulgar language against this user. We will not accept it. One of the people made a post talking about how this dox has actually affected them in the real world. So apparently, like, a classmate of theirs saw this announcement and then asked if that was them that they were talking about. So it's already like their identity being leaked like this has already had negative implications for them in the real world. It's unbelievable. All over teabagging equals sexual assault nonsense. What tournament are they banned from? They are banned from the entire Valorant Pro League. Like, they cannot be affiliated with anything Riot sanctioned. Got banned for talking shit. They weren't even like talking shit against the person who made the post. They were just pointing out how outrageous it was to claim that teabagging is the same thing as sexual assault. Like, they weren't even like attacking the actual poster. Scribble faster. I'm trying to. By the end of this, I'm going to end up with like a repeated stress injury to my wrist from having to censor their names so many times here. Because Riot couldn't be bothered. It looks like a goddamn CIA classified document with a bunch of, like, redacted all over it. Yeah, so this is the start of their statement here. So that, again, that Twitter thread was started by a member of Galorants, apparently. I'm not super familiar with Galorants. From a glance, I looked them up. It seems like it's like a Discord community that's all about, like, welcoming all kinds of people in there. I suppose. I don't really know. I don't think the Galorants had anything to do with this ban. I don't think they mass reported these 2 players or anything. So I don't know for sure, but I don't think they did. This seems like it was Riot just putting their own dick in their ass. So I think they're Galorance is probably hands clean of this. But yeah, so the two players made posts on Twitter regarding that Twitter thread, and Riot is saying that it was targeted harassment and vulgar language against members of that community, which is a violation of their rules. So they've been banned from Riot-sanctioned events for... one player's been banned from Riot-sanctioned events for 3 months, and then the other one I think is 9. Yeah, 9. This was one of them. I believe Don got 3 months, yep. I don't think I need to say much more. I shitposted on Twitter, and apparently it's vulgar language. Thousands of other people, including pro players and streamers, have done it, but nothing for them. Below is all the evidence that Riot sent me. Feel free to look at them and find the vulgar speech that I used. Oh, and then in regards to the doxing, thanks for leaking my full name. People from school are texting me about it. So this is one of them. Pretty standard dunk. Nothing alarming there. Nothing that's gonna have you go like, oh, too far. And then again, this one's just, it's not that deep. I don't know why Kurapika's here, but that's kind of epic. This one's just a meme. Like, it's not even vulgar language, so it doesn't even fit. And this one, I guess, could be construed as like a threat. I suppose. I don't really know. So even if you really want to play hardball, like you can't say naughty things to other members of the Valorant esports community. Like, they really didn't. They didn't even say anything vulgar. It was just like general tweets. Like, hey, this is stupid. This is dumb. I want to quickly just come in here like a jump scare and let you all know that I actually talked to both Dawn and Razora, the two people who were banned here, to get a deeper insight on things. I asked them if they like actually did target or harass the girl who initially posted the thread, like if they went in her Discord and started insulting her or shit-talking her in her Discord or anything like that. And Dawn confirmed everything that they were punished for was the Twitter posts. Dawn had never gone into the Discord or even mentioned the girl or anything like that, never attacked her, harassed her, anything like that. And Razora also said something similar. However, Razora did make like videos about it as well as talking in the Discord about it, getting into like arguments in the Discord. So Razora was a little more direct with the community, whereas Dawn only made Twitter posts. So there, in both cases here, I don't think there's any argument for any like actual harassment or targeted attacks. It seems like both of them were just attacking the point that she was making with teabagging is sexual assault, which is a terrible point to make and deserves to be insulted and criticized, because that kind of thinking is not okay, and it is a complete slap in the face to actual sexual assault victims. So I don't think there's any case to be made that Razora and Dawn were like maliciously attacking or ruthlessly harassing the original poster of that Twitter thread. Why is there like no one talking about this? That's what I was surprised about. I thought this would be big news. Like there's an actual war on teabagging going on right now in gaming. It's fucking wild. And I'll address this right now, since people keep bringing it up. Yes, I really ate my own words here. I'll come here and publicly eat shit and say I was wrong. There was a case of someone getting teabagged in a real-life sport this week. Paddy the Batty, Pimblett, teabagged his opponent after choking him out in the octagon. So, yes, teabagging does happen in real sports too. And you know what happened to Paddy the Batty? The guy that got teabagged was laughing, Paddy was laughing, the commentators were laughing, and the whole world found it to be entertaining. It's just fucking video games where virtual teabagging is apparently the devil.
You said this week you knew he was going to shoot for a single leg. Looked like you'd done your homework.
See, like that's, again, I like it, it's good, I like where his heart's at, but the technique is not great. That is amateurish technique at absolute best. Rookie shit. Only 2 pumps, and for some reason has his hands straight up. Like, that's just not even proper teabagging technique. But I do love that he pioneered it into the real world of sports. And I fucking love Paddy the Batty. I think that guy's amazing. Probably tired. Yeah, I mean, again, heart was in the right place. We just got to work on that technique for the next one. But back on topic. Point is, teabagging is not a big deal. no matter how desperately gaming companies as well as delusional gamers want to pretend it is. It is certainly not grounds for a fucking ban. And these two didn't even teabag or anything. They're just talking about how stupid it is to compare it to sexual assault. Splitgate's crowd cheers when you teabag. Oh my god. To the member of the Gallerants that made that thread, I pray they never find Splitgate because they would absolutely melt down. They would think that is an actual hell on earth situation. There's an entire game mode in Splitgate where you teabag your opponent to confirm. They would never be the same. But I think this next section is really great to highlight where Riot's head's at, because this is where they protect the identity of the initial poster and then immediately dox the other two. This is where they give like the timeline of events. Beginning June 24th, a player identified as Player A to protect their identity engaged community members on Gallerant's Discord server. June 27th, the discussion evolved into an argument spanning multiple Twitter posts. I'll throw the guess out here. I know Riot got investigated for, gender discrimination stuff at the office. Like, they had a huge workplace culture problem at Riot where, we even talked about it on the podcast, there were stories where, like, one of the higher-ups at Riot used to go cubicle to cubicle and fart in the employees' faces. Like, they treated it like it was a crazy fucking frat house. And I believe it was like a $100 million lawsuit or something. I mean, I'm on the internet right now, I can double check. I don't know what the verdict was on it, but it became kind of a big deal. And I think what's happening now... Oh, the verdict's in. They've agreed to pay the $100 million in settlement. Okay. Makes even more sense then. So I think what's happened here is they're trying super, super, super hard to overcorrect for things. So they're going really fucking hard in the paint here. Like any minor issue on Twitter or anywhere, any of their leagues, they're trying to like make a grand statement like, we are not sexist, we are safe. And it's backfiring because it's the exact opposite. That's a good theory. Yeah, I mean it's just a game theory at the end of the day. But I think the timing makes sense since they agreed 2 days ago to pay this out, and neither Dawn nor Razora even knew that this ban was coming. Seems like they may have just like jumped the gun and tried really hard to look good quickly. To be fair, is either get cooked by the person who started the thread for doing nothing, or do something and get cooked by the community. They chose the wrong side. I don't think so. The person who started the thread hasn't said shit since. At the end of the day, it was her opinion, which she's welcome to have. I think it's a terrible take, as did most people. But she publicly posted it on Twitter for everyone to opine on. And I don't think she made a big stink about it. So Riot not doing anything wouldn't have been a problem. Plus, Riot didn't hit everyone that dunked on it. Don mentioned 2 other pro players in the scene that didn't have any repercussions. Just Don and Razora. I actually got to talk to both the players on stream who gave me a deeper perspective on exactly what happened. So Dawn is the player that received a 3-month ban for this, and she talked about how her posts were what triggered Riot Games into taking action. But after Riot Games looked at the posts, they contacted Dawn saying that there were no problems, she was in the clear, and then today, out of nowhere, they just decided to ban her. She had no warning, had no idea it was coming, and was even told that it wasn't coming, and that she was cleared. It wasn't a big deal. So I don't know what exactly happened there. And then the other player is named Razora, and she received a ban from Riot for 9 months. For similar reasons to Dawn, however, Razora also made YouTube videos, like talking about how dumb it is, the whole statement on teabagging being sexual assault. So Razora made more content around the statements than Dawn did, and as such received a longer ban. So Razora went a little harder on the statement than Dawn, and Riot punished her harder. It's such a fucked up scenario that shouldn't have happened under any circumstance. Neither Dawn nor Razora knew this ban was coming. They received no warning from Riot Games. They found out when the rest of the world found out, and were shocked to see that their full names had now just been put out there by this company. So this whole thing was just a complete fuck up from Riot. There shouldn't have been bans in the first place. The players should be allowed to express their opinions on Twitter, regardless of what it's about. They shouldn't be like hall monitoring their pro scene to make sure that everything is squeaky clean and fine and everyone's playing nice. And for some reason, it was only Don and Rizora that got banned for this, even though there were other pro players that were dunking on it as well. So it's very weird that they targeted just 2 people here out of the entire crowd of people that were talking about it. So I don't understand exactly what's going on, but one thing's for sure, Riot definitely missed the mark here. Also, both Don and Rizora said that with Riot doxing them like that, they've received many messages from classmates who saw the headlines and are now reaching out about it. And it's just been a real nuisance for them. So Riot's definitely just made a fool out of themselves here. This was entirely avoidable. It should have never even been a discussion on whether or not Dawn and Rizora should be banned. The answer should have been a resounding no. Shouldn't have even been a question. But even after they decided to ban them, I don't know how the decision came about to put their full names out there publicly. That's such a violation of like trust and privacy. That makes no sense to me. It's not like this is like a legal lawsuit or something like that, or like a actual litigation in court. They didn't have to fully name the defendants here. They are victims of Riot Games now. Riot Games just doxed them, which is fucked up. So this was just a really bad look for Riot, like completely. Hopefully they'll go back and overturn this outrageous decision, but I have a feeling they won't. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about this, and that's about it. So yeah. Secondhand embarrassment is a very real phenomenon. It occurs when you witness something that is so grossly turbo cringe that your body has a fight or flight response and fills you with shame from just having watched it, even though you weren't directly involved in the situation. I think the number one cause of secondhand embarrassment is bad stand-up comedy. So, you know, like, what's the deal with airline food? Salt shakers, you fill them up, and then where does it all go? Like, when a stand-up set bombs, I feel like most people get embarrassed for the person up there. But today, I got so much secondhand embarrassment, I feel like I got a year's worth of shame in one afternoon, thanks to the TikTok congressional hearing that happened. This was an absolute mockery of the entire country. It was absolutely foul. It was painful to watch. So I'd like to show you just a few of the clips. The whole thing was about 5.5 hours long, and I can't imagine anyone can make it to the end without puking. It's brutal. It has everything you're probably imagining, tech illiteracy and horrible questions out the wazoo, all wrapped up into one 5-hour endurance test of the human patience. In a nutshell, there's been a lot of controversy about TikTok and TikTok bans, like banning on government phones, which I do agree with. I don't think there's any argument to be made that a fucking government or someone in power person should have TikTok on their phone just because of potential security risks associated with it. And this has expanded into a lot of other big debates around it. I am not a personal fan of the platform in general. I don't really use it that often. Plus, I think it's been extremely detrimental to the actual mental health and attention span of human beings. Because now, I don't know if you go on TikTok often. If you go on TikTok and it's someone just talking about something or a clip of something, there is always Subway Surfers, Rocket League, or GTA playing underneath it in order to keep your attention. Because people need such constant stimulation and jingling keys. If there's not like 3 separate videos of like bars of soap getting cut for satisfying videos, or Rocket League freestyling, while the core video itself is playing, they click off. That shit is just so pathetic. It's actual brain rot behavior. I am very curious to see in 10 years if that's going to be the commonplace for everything in the world. Like if movies now are going to be like playing a movie, but then also underneath it, another separate movie, making sure that your attention is captured. Like, it's so baffling just how far the attention span of humans is degrading, where they can't watch a fucking 30-second video without 3 other videos also playing to keep their attention. But with all of that being said, I still don't want to see it nationally banned or any shit like that. And the reason's very simple. Because I like a world where people have the freedom to choose what they do with their whole life, pretty much. So if you want to download TikTok, you should. Even in spite of potential security risks to your privacy or whatever, that should entirely be on the individual's choice. Does the entertainment the platform offer outweigh the potential security risks to your data being sold or whatever? That's up to the person to decide. That's my ideal scenario where people have the freedom to make their own fucking choices there when it comes to some shit like this. I've made it clear I'm no fan of TikTok. I am also very confident that there is a huge level of like spyware with TikTok associated with it, more than the CEO lets on. But holy shit, this congressional hearing or whatever has done nothing but make the CEO of TikTok look like a patient saint, like an actual Zen master to deal with the unhinged lunacy and out of touch questions those fucking fossils were throwing his way. It blew my mind. It blew my fucking mind. Her, oh my god, she's so dumb. She kept asking him questions, but instead of letting him answer, she'd just say, yes, yes, yes. And then she pulled up a random shitpost on TikTok like, you see this threat? Oh, fuck me. Yeah, so she pulled this up, and she's like, look at this. Outrageous. It's not a viral post or anything, by the way.
That video was posted 41 days ago. As you can see, it is captioned me as F.
Dude who asked about TikTok using Wi-Fi? I don't remember, but I think they were trying to make a bigger point. And this is really giving a very charitable bone to the person who asked the question. I think what they were getting at with asking about Wi-Fi is he was trying to state that if one device is connected to a network, it can access everything on that network, which it can, but he couldn't ask the question because I don't think he really fully understood it. But again, I'm doing a very charitable service trying to even make some sense out of that awful question. This accomplished nothing except making their CEO look better. Full-heartedly believe there is a lot more fishy shit at play on the back end of TikTok, but they did not even get close to the bottom of it because they couldn't even wrap their head around what an app on your phone is. It's tragic.
Mr. Zhang Fuping is the editor-in-chief.
He's not.
My colleague, Representative
Just doesn't even let him say it or
a
talk.
few minutes ago exposed that TikTok and ByteDance share legal teams. You confirmed this, correct?
Our general counsel is
Yes.
an
Yes or
American lawyer,
Yes.
veteran of Microsoft.
Also, my colleague, Representative Lada, confirmed that your parent
Fucking
company,
worthless.
ByteDance, currently can access user data. Yes?
Let's. We have to be more
Yes.
specific.
Yes.
After
You
Project
say-
Texas, no.
I'm not asking after Project Texas, I'm asking now. Yes.
Some user data is public data, Congresswoman, which
So
means
you confirm
everybody
that.
can search
What's
for it on the
interesting
internet.
to me is that you have used the word transparency over a half a dozen times.
So, doesn't seem to understand that when you ask a question, you should wait for an answer instead of filling your own blanks here. So, her asking about the data that they're accessing, he talks about the public data, which is something every app in the world accesses, even that computer she's on right there. I bet she's logged in on Twitter. That uses all of your fucking data too. I bet she has a Facebook account. That not only accesses all of your data, it sells it too. All of these apps do that. What they needed to get to the bottom of is more in line with like what is TikTok specifically doing with that data and how it relates to like the CCP and shit like that. But instead they're so hung up on like public data. You're accessing public profiles. That's creepy. That's something one of the guys said. It's so fucking crazy. And for some reason, they don't even let him answer, so they get no answers. They get nothing out of this. It is fucking worthless. It is a complete waste of time. They said they were watching children's public profiles, which was creepy. Everything's watching every public profile ever. That's the whole point of it being public. It gets scanned in these systems. That's not exclusive to TikTok. Twitter does it. Facebook does it. YouTube does it. Everything does it. Literally everything. We threw away our privacy long, long ago. TikTok is just a little more nefarious, potentially, with what it uses that data for, at least based on like reports from a year or two ago. Not meant to be informational or useful, it's meant to grandstand for campaigns. It's actually tame compared to everything else, and, well, I guess maybe. It's still so stupid, though, because this doesn't do anything to further anyone's agenda here. Everyone that asked him questions today looks like a bumbling fucking buffoon. A genuine moron. Like, I feel like all this does is shake people's confidence in their elected representatives here. They couldn't they couldn't ask a good question. Were they like this with Mark Zuckerberg? Yes. Yes, they were. It was just as bad with Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg sat in the same hot seat as this guy did, and he got bombarded with just as stupid questions. If I remember correctly, one of the Facebook questions was, do I need internet to connect to Facebook? Or something like that. We are not getting anything out of this garbage. What do you think their approach should be on this topic? Hand it off to people that understand it. Clearly, this woman doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. At all. She has no clue what's going on right there. And she clearly doesn't even want to get answers because she's too busy answering herself. So get someone who gets it, have them ask the questions, and come up with the questions to begin with. Delegate. This is clearly not her strong suit. She's not even old! That you can't just keep using the excuse of they're all fucking geriatric. She is not old. She is willfully stupid. And still tries to act like an authority on the topic. She pulled up a fucking 400 view shitpost to try and use it as a point that completely fell flat. And then doesn't even let the guy answer her questions because she's too busy answering herself. Now, while she may have come to this hootenanny unprepared and made me ashamed to be a Floridian, she did mention something that I think is important to talk about briefly, which is Project Texas. Project Texas is something TikTok did to appease the US. In a quick nutshell, Project Texas is US user data being sent to Oracle, which is on American soil, as opposed to going anywhere else. So all of the US user data will now be on American soil, and Oracle kind of oversees the whole thing.
On a device in one pocket, but downloaded on your device in the other doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I believe Congress and DoD should address the continued use of TikTok on military installations as well as any use that depicts U.S. military operations. Mr. Chu, does TikTok access the home Wi-Fi network?
Only if the user turns on the Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, I may not understand the...
So if I have a TikTok app...
Again, this is being very charitable. I think the point he was trying to make is... when it accesses the Wi-Fi, it has access to all of your devices that are within that network, which every device that accesses your Wi-Fi does. That is factual. That is true. Which is actually something that happened to Kaya. He downloaded a burglar broke in and downloaded a torrent, and it came with a virus, which infected multiple devices that were on his network. It is known that when you are on a Wi-Fi network, it connects to more than just the single thing that's connected to it. It's everything there. So I think his point was, can it access my other devices? Which is why he's talking about, like, downloading on a device next to me. Shit like that. But the way he asked that question is so bafflingly stupid that even the TikTok CEO is like, fucking obviously, it's going to access your Wi-Fi if you turn it on. Right? Like, it's just craziness. So have someone who understands what the fuck they're talking about be the one to ask these questions. I think you gave him too much credit. He probably thinks Wi-Fi is a radio. Again, it's a very charitable interpretation of what I think he could have been trying to say. I could be way off and giving way too much credit there. I don't know. For the sake of clarity, I actually think that guy's follow-up question kind of hints more at what I was saying. Even though it's still poorly asked and his follow-up question is still poorly phrased, I do think with a high level of confidence, the thing he was trying to get at is TikTok going to be accessing all kinds of things on my network outside of just the one device that I'm using right now to connect to it? I think is what he really wanted to get at, but he didn't know how to get to that topic effectively. So he ended up making a very silly question out of the whole thing, which really sums up the entire hearing. Just silly questions that didn't do anything at all. They didn't get any answers. They didn't get to the bottom of any real questions people have. It was just a genuine fucking circus. Just an absolute clown show. That's really about it. See ya.
There's two things you would never confuse me as. A tall person and a fan of TikTok. I've made it pretty clear over the years that I think TikTok has been largely detrimental to the development of the younger generation, as well as just overall a negative effect on people as a whole. In particular, the attention span of people. I really think that this is going to be something that'll be studied for decades to come. When we reach a point where human beings can't sit down for more than 30 seconds without squirming in their chair if they're not blasted with, finger family jingles and just perpetual stimulation from GTA gameplay and Subway Surfers. Like, I do think it has had a noticeably awful effect on people's brains. However, there is something I love. Freedom. I love it more than Garfield loves lasagna. My blood runs red. My belly's filled with cheeseburgers and brewskis. When I have a birthday party, I ask the attendees to sing the Pledge of Allegiance instead of the Happy Birthday song. If I wasn't a human, I'd be an eagle. That's how much I love freedom. God damn it. God bless. So, I think it's a beautiful thing that we have the freedom to download TikTok and subject ourselves to that fucking mind rot. And this is something that I've covered for a few years now because this is like a boogeyman that keeps rearing its head occasionally, like some kind of cameo in every season of the United States with the whole TikTok ban. That's been a proposal for years now. But recently, it's been gaining a lot of steam. And today, the president has signed a bill that will force a sale of TikTok, and if they don't divest after 9 months, they will be fundamentally banned. So, TikTok is a very shady app, and there's been a lot of shadiness that's been reported in it for years, and it's even been deemed a national security threat due to the potential of China using it to collect data on Americans. This is something I'm sure all of you know. This isn't some kind of surprising plot twist here for all of you. And I'm sure all of you also know that there's no such thing as privacy anymore. Every single one of you watching this right now is actively having your data harvested and sold. But typically, your data is being sold by American companies. This is pretty rare in that it's a Chinese app that gained mainstream adoption by Americans, thus they are the ones that are getting the data as opposed to American companies. And the government's not super happy about that. So, if TikTok is not divested within 9 months to an approved buyer, then it's going kaput. It's going to vanish like that. It's going to be banned. TikTok CEO has even made a video going over all of this to its users, and it seems like they're going to be fighting tooth and nail here to push back against this. They believe it is unconstitutional. Before showing you the video, I'll read their statement. This unconstitutional law is a TikTok ban, and we will challenge it in court. We believe the facts and the law are clearly on our side and we will ultimately prevail. The fact is, we have invested billions of dollars to keep US data safe and our platform free from outside influence and manipulation. This ban would devastate 7 million businesses and silence 170 million Americans. As we continue to challenge this unconstitutional ban, we will continue investing and innovating to ensure TikTok remains a space where Americans of all walks of life can safely come to share their experiences, find joy, and be inspired. Now, over the years of this TikTok tug-of-war that we've been seeing in the headlines about will it be banned, will it not be banned, I've kind of flip-flopped on my opinion of that. I negatively view TikTok. I don't have a good impression of it because I think the good on it, which undeniably there is good things that have come from TikTok, by giving everyone a voice, there is moments where it's able to highlight very important problems that are going on, and there are good content creators on there that are providing high quality entertainment and educational entertainment at some points on TikTok. It's also been huge for businesses, like just normal mom and pop businesses like that have been utilizing TikTok as a way of growing and flourishing. It's been super helpful to a lot of businesses. However, I feel like all of this is outweighed by the overall culture that TikTok has kind of fostered, where the most popular content is the ones that have Subway Surfers gameplay with cutting soap videos plastered on there because they know that the audience can no longer focus on just one video anymore. It needs to be constant stimulation and jingling keys to keep them there because it has damaged people's ability to focus. And also, a lot of the content that blows up on TikTok is the content that is just literally wrong, like fake garbage that serves just to fearmonger. Like, for instance, the easiest example, the solar eclipse. There were thousands of videos about the solar eclipse about to open up a demon portal because CERN's working behind the scenes during the solar eclipse, or like the red heifer's been sacrificed so the Antichrist is being summoned during the solar eclipse. All kinds of mumbo jumbo that serves just to keep the audience on TikTok scared and stupid, so that way they're constantly spending money to stop being scared and feeling stupid. So it's all very, like, there's some evil shit on there. It's also very dangerous because there's a lot of things that blow up on there that actually just get people killed, like the blackout challenge or like the Kia challenge where you're stealing cars. I could go on and on shaking my fist like the angry old man on the lawn, but I don't need to because all of you, I think, know that. But even with all that being said, I still overall feel that it's important that people have the ability to make choices for themselves And if they choose to download TikTok, they should have the ability to do so. I don't like the government being the one to decide what you can and cannot access in regards to like an app on your phone. Now, in this case, I do recognize that TikTok is significantly shadier than most of the other major companies out there, but still, I think it is a scary precedent if the government is able to just start banning things that they don't like. Obviously, within reason, if it's just purely illegal content and distributing just a bunch of illegal criminal shit, clearly slap that down. That makes sense. But come on, it's a social media app. Like, who's to say there won't be another major platform or service that pops off in the United States that isn't owned by the United States? And who's to say they won't be like, okay, fuck them. We were able to ban TikTok. Let's go ahead and ban these guys too. It's not American made. We don't want it here.
Hi everyone, it's Show here. As you may have heard, Congress passed a bill that the president signed into law that is designed to ban TikTok in the United States. That will take TikTok away from you and 170 million Americans who find community and connection on our platform. Make no mistake, this is a ban on TikTok and a ban on you and your voice.
I don't think there's anyone on the planet that's making the mistake in thinking that it's not a ban. There's no smoke and mirrors here, no diversion. They're not mixing any words here to try and confuse you. It is just straight up a ban. Like, they're not hiding that fact. They either sell TikTok to an approved buyer, or they can no longer have TikTok in the United States.
It's actually ironic because the freedom of expression on TikTok reflects the same American values that make the United States a beacon of freedom. TikTok gives everyday Americans a powerful way to be seen and heard, and that's why so many people have made TikTok part of their daily lives. Rest assured, we aren't going anywhere.
I'm not going to play any more of this because it's mainly just a video letting the community know that they are going to be fighting as best they possibly can against this. And also, a lot of it's just talking about how special TikTok is. Like, it's such a wonderful, joyous place with sunshine and unicorns. Like, you know, it's delightful on TikTok, and we want to preserve that, so that's what we're fighting for. That's not what you're fighting for. You're fighting for TikTok so hard because it's such a massive moneymaker that has a huge adoption in the United States. You don't give a fuck about, like, the actual culture on TikTok. If you did, there'd be significantly less degeneracy on it, I imagine. Like, there is, like I said, even aside from, like, the data stuff and the spying potential, there have been some legitimately shady things going on with TikTok. The reason why they want this so badly to avoid divesting and avoid being banned is because it makes so much money. And they have so many users in the United States that they do not want to lose, and they do not want to give over to a different company, obviously. So yeah, anyway, I guess we'll see if TikTok is banned within the year, and if it is, that's going to be pure fucking pandemonium as people flock to, like, YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, I suppose. But anyway, that's really about it. So yeah. TikTok being banned is a headline that floats around annually. It comes once a year like Santa Claus and spreads like the common cold, with people thinking this is really the time it's going to be banned, and then never does. However, this time around, it's a different kind of ball game. This rodeo's looking a little bit different. All signs are pointing towards TikTok being an extinct dinosaur at the end of next week. TikTok rep has even said that they're preparing for a US shutdown on Sunday, which once again proves I am terrible at predictions. Baba Vanga is frowning. I have been very vocal with my naysaying and bah-humbugging, saying that people are blowing this out of proportion. TikTok's not actually going to get banned. Because we've been through this song and dance so many times, I just didn't put any water into this being the one where it's really gonna just vanish. I'd just be flopping my veiny cock on people's chins about it, saying, you gotta wake up, it's not happening, and then, well, January 19th at the latest, it looks like we'll be living in a post-TikTok society. What that looks like is anyone's best guess. There could be mangled corpses in the streets, buildings on fire as former TikTok stars start cranking JoJo Siwa dances and IHOPs and posting the videos desperately to Instagram Reels. Who knows? I'll go ahead and tell you where I stand on this, and I stand pretty tall, 5'6". It's a topic that's been pretty tricky for me. I've been pretty conflicted on it. It's no secret I'm not a TikTok enthusiast.
I think TikTok has been a net negative for its users, and I think there is very real data and evidence to suggest that it has had a very harmful effect on people's ability to focus. That being said, I think it has also been an invaluable tool for, small companies as well as individuals to make a career out of basically nothing. An example that I use from time to time is someone like Queso, who I think is probably one of my favorite content creators on the internet in general right now, and TikTok is what really helped elevate him and put him in the public sphere. And having a tool that's able to do something like that is just really very cool, and a lot of businesses also attribute their success to being able to promote through TikTok. So there's a lot of good that has come from it, as well as like getting information out about very important things going on in the world. So there is value there. Overall, though, I can't help but feel that on the whole, TikTok has not been a good thing. It hasn't really been a boon. It's been more of like a curse, giving people fucking TikTok brain, poisoning them. That being said, I am very much against censorship and very much in the camp that people should be able to make decisions for themselves without the government telling you what you can and cannot download on your fucking app store. I don't like Uncle Sam kicking down my door and uninstalling TikTok from my phone or whatever, even though I don't use it. There's very real concerns with TikTok as a platform. Yes, obviously it's harvesting your data. Yes, there is a actual concern with that, as well as the ability for TikTok to influence certain things and hide certain things. There are real arguments against it, but all of those arguments against TikTok are also arguments that can be used against Meta, Google, everything, because all of those platforms do the same shit. The difference with TikTok is an American company doesn't get to have that influence, and they don't get to have that that sweet, sweet data that they love to collect and sell to China. Instead, through TikTok, China just gets it off rip. And that's really, to me, the core of why the TikTok ban is going through, because they want an American company to be able to capitalize off of your data, which is business as usual for some of the big boy behemoths in the tech sector, like Meta and Google. That's a core part of the shit they do, which is spying on you and harvesting your data. It's not like a conspiracy, that's pretty well known. Just to boil it all down to where I stand, even though I don't like TikTok, I still think people should have the freedom to download it if they so choose. I just hate the idea of relinquishing freedoms like this. I just don't like giving them the green light to just take things away like that. Just micromanaging what apps you can even have access to in the first place. Like, this is an extreme example, but just picture a future like this. Oh, Charles, we see you were trying to download that unofficial notepad app on your phone. That's not owned by an American company. You need to use our pre-approved Patriot Pad. So we're going to uninstall that previous one and get you set up here. I think that shit sucks. So overall, I'm not thrilled that TikTok's going to be banned. And also, there's people that are just being a bit delusional about it, thinking that somehow this is going to heal society. All of a sudden, people's brain rot will be cured. No, goofball. They're just going to go to the numerous alternatives that are offered by American companies, like YouTube Shorts, like Instagram Reels. Well, Instagram Reels I keep hearing is a complete fucking cesspool, so maybe not Instagram Reels, but mainly YouTube Shorts. And also, apparently, tons and tons of people are going to a different Chinese TikTok clone called Red Note, which is something we talked about on stream. I'll go ahead and play some of those clips. Yeah, I'm here to find out tonight if TikTok is actually getting banned next week. We'll see. We're gonna do some big-time digging. Yeah, I was just learning about this new TikTok app called Red Note. So it's a Chinese social media app that's basically just TikTok again, but this time not in English. So it's looking like tons of people are flocking to it. Yeah, the 19th is when we're gonna know for sure if it's actually banned. But they do this every year. Every year for like the last 4 years, they have this whole hoopla, time to ban TikTok. Unless TikTok gets bought out, it's banned. And then it comes time to play hardball, and it's like, that's fine. But next time it's really fucking getting it. We're putting the wood on it. I don't understand why they want to ban it because it's a Chinese company. We've talked about this a lot over the years because this happens like clockwork with the whole TikTok ban fear wave that sweeps through and them posturing that they're going to do something. I don't know if TikTok's going to be bought. We can look into it. I know Elon was posturing that he's going to buy it. I know, I think it's Kevin O'Leary was saying he's going to buy it. I would be shocked if it gets bought. But we can see if there's any, like, weight behind it. Spoiler alert, there wasn't. There's no shot Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank is walking away with that handshake deal. And also the rumors of Elon Musk purchasing it were unfounded. In fact, one of the reps for TikTok said that they don't engage in that kind of fiction. So it doesn't look like it's going to get sold. Also, it doesn't seem that TikTok itself wants to even play ball with this. It seems like they're very against it. They're currently planning to just cease U.S. operations for the platform on Sunday, saying that when people open the app, they'll see a pop-up message directing them to a website with information about the ban. And also that they're going to give users an option to download all their data so they can take a record of their personal information. However, they did say that if the ban does get reversed, it'd be able to restore service to US users in a relatively short period of time. America would not be the first to ban TikTok, with something we talked about on stream as well. India actually banned TikTok a little bit ago. Oh, wow. No, they actually banned it 4 years ago. Around the same time we were toying around with the idea. TikTok and 58 other Chinese-created apps were banned completely in India. So did something come and take its place, like fucking Hydra? Let me see. So June 2020, it was banned. Citing the threat to national security and sovereignty. So something did take its place. TikTok users and content creators needed a place to go. Ban provided a multi-billion-dollar opportunity to snatch up a big market. Within months, Google rolled out YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels. Both mimic short-form video, and it looks like they went there. This kind of surprises me. In India, TikTok decided not to go to court, but the US is a bigger revenue market for them. Also, the First Amendment in America is fairly strong, so it's not going to be easy for the US to do this as it was in India. I'm surprised they wouldn't try and fight it in India. That's a huge market. A lot of them went to Chingari too. Never heard of that. Is that a TikTok clone? Oh my god, I hate these websites! Someone needs to buy all of these mainstream journalist websites and just burn them to the fucking ground. Jesus! I'm not gonna subscribe for $1 a month to read fucking 2 paragraphs. Is it bad? I would rather TikTok goes down so people can start doing something better for themselves than watching short videos for hours wasting time. It's super cute that you think that would change anything. People in preparation for a potential ban have already flocked to another TikTok adjacent platform called Red Note, which is just a Chinese TikTok alternative. Twitch is no stranger to controversy and bad decisions. In fact, when you think of Twitch, you often think of horrible choices they've made. They just go together like spaghetti and meatballs. But yesterday, all hell broke loose. Sin flooded the platform. An event occurred that was so big that it forced Twitch's hand to take action, and it led to yet another embarrassingly goofy display from the platform, and they're beginning to reach levels of silliness we only thought possible in fantasy movies. I'll break it down, though I'm sure you've already heard by now. Yesterday, it was just an innocent Thursday afternoon, you know, we're all doing our best to praise the Lord in our own special way, and then a streamer went live and had sex on Twitch. And that's not super unusual. If you scroll down far enough in the just chatting category, you can always find porn. So that's not exactly triggering the DEF CON alert system or anything, you know, just a pretty fucking ordinary day on Twitch. However, when Twitch banned the user, they only banned them for 7 days.
On TikTok. So I joined in her TikTok live. Then I asked her the $1 million question. I know why, but like, how long are you banned for?
7 days.
What the? 7 days.
Now, why is this situation such a big deal? She broadcast her visit to Dr. Dick and Balls and got banned for it. The problem is how long she was banned for. 7 days. You see, Twitch is very inconsistent with its enforcement of the rules. Sometimes it'll ban a streamer for a month because of one really small issue, or even no issue at all, like a misunderstanding. Sometimes it'll permanently ban streamers over fucking nothing. They don't enforce their rules equally across the platform. Similar to what YouTube was just called out for by Corey Kinshin. Twitch, for a long time, has always been really inconsistent with its enforcement of their rules. And what you just saw there was a YouTuber named Gideon, massive YouTuber, and he used to be a Twitch streamer until he got banned 8 months ago. 8 months ago, Gideon was streaming and told his viewers to go to Penguinz0's chat and spam L+ ratio, and he was permanently removed from the platform, calling it a hate brigade. And it's been 8 months now. Gideon's apologized. Him and Penguinz0 are on good terms, as I understand it, but he is still gone. Yet, this girl orders a hot dog extra wiener on stream and only receives a 7-day suspension. It's just makes no sense how the biggest possible rule could be broken, and yet they only receive a minimal suspension, whereas one singular case of bad behavior from Gideon doing the raid on Penguinz0 is apparently so heinous that it's worthy of a lifetime ban. It just, the punishments don't fit the crime. Clearly the rules are not being enforced the same way. And in Gideon's video, he brings up a lot of other examples of Twitch either playing favorites or just coming up with the most inexplicably stupid decisions for their bans. And one of them he brings up is one that I've talked about quite a bit. It's the infamous case of a streamer going live and then spreading her butthole and pussy at the camera. She goes live and then just puts her ass right at the camera and just fully goat-sees her chamber of secrets and has the pussy flaps all visible and everything. And just does that for like, 15, 20 seconds, something like that, and then goes offline. Claimed it was a mistake thinking she was on a different platform. She only received a 3-day ban. Hopefully you can understand why people are questioning these decisions and scratching their head wondering what the fuck is going on. And you can probably also understand why Gideon, as well as other streamers who have been banned in the past, are rightfully upset. Gideon broke a rule. You would have expected him to get a suspension of maybe like 7 days or something. You know, he harassed another streamer, that's a violation, so he gets a 7-day suspension, and that probably should have been the end of it. But instead he got permanently banned, and they've stood beside it for 8 months. So he's been banned forever because of being mean to another streamer. Meanwhile, this lady just broke the biggest possible rule on the platform and only received 7 days. Like, this doesn't add up. These aren't making sense.
I want to myself and shoot people at Twitch HQ, right? They extend her ban, obviously, to a perma. She wrote an apology letter to Twitch, and this is Twitch's response. After reviewing your case, we confirm that the correct enforcement was issued. However, given the details of your case, including the remorse expressed in your appeal, we have decided to reduce your suspension duration.
This is another strong example Gideon gives of the questionable policy enforcement from Twitch. This comes from a streamer named Narcissa Wright, and if you're familiar with that streamer, you know the whole story surrounding her and her mental health, and it's overall a very sad situation, but I think this case is a very important one to talk about in regards to Twitch and their policy enforcement. This streamer made a public threat to hurt themselves as well as shoot up the Twitch headquarters in response to a temporary ban they had received. After making that public threat, they received a permanent ban. And after making an apology to Twitch, she then got the duration reduced to 22 days. Well, why was her apology accepted and reducing her suspension time, whereas Gideon's apology didn't do shit, they just wiped their ass with it? It's not making sense. Gideon's offense was much less severe than fucking on camera, getting your fucking back blown out, and also making terrorist threats about shooting up the goddamn company. Like, his is so trivial in comparison to all of those things, and yet his is the most severe punishment so far. And he's not alone. There's other streamers that have received permanent bans or extremely lengthy bans over small things. One that I've cited a lot is Forsen's ban a couple years ago, where Forsen accidentally flashed an inappropriate picture on stream and received a full month ban for a very genuine mistake, and only was there for like a single fucking pixel. It was like a second, but still. He received a much harsher sentence than someone actually having sex on stream. It's just ridiculous. There's no consistency to their rule enforcement, and the duration of their bans make absolutely no sense. I also don't understand the argument that a lot of you are going to make about how Twitch makes more money off a girl having sex than just like a normal streamer like Gideon. That's just blatantly wrong. She was not a big streamer. The girl that just recently got fucked on cam, was not a big streamer by any means. I think she had like fucking 10 or 15 viewers at the time it happened. I don't even know who reported her, to be honest. I imagined at that point it's just friends and family watching. So I don't even know how the fuck it even became like a big enough deal that Twitch stepped in. A lot of this shit just flies under the radar on the site. But anyway, she wasn't a huge streamer. She wasn't making Twitch tons and tons of money or anything like that. And she's not like a big figure outside of Twitch either. You know, she has like 800 followers on Twitter. I don't know what she's got on TikTok or anything, but she is not like this huge money-making machine for Twitch. So then why are they doing everything to defend her, like stepping in front of the bullets and everything for her? A 7-day ban is nothing. That's not even a slap on the wrist. That's barely even a light tap on the bottom. You know, that's like a very like playful slap on the keister, if anything. Like, that's nothing. It's almost encouraging her to continue to do this because it helps inflate her like OnlyFans numbers or something. Why are they being so lenient on their rules for people that just exploit their platform? But then they'll feel totally fine to fuck people in the face like Gideon, Forsen, and a ton of other big streamers I can name. Those are like the people that are actually making Twitch money. They're big streamers, they have a big following, and yet they're the ones that are scrutinized the heaviest by the platform. Whereas the ones who are just having sex on it aren't even getting punished, really. Like, it doesn't make sense. It has nothing to do with money, clearly. Because if it did, then they'd be doing everything possible to protect the bigger streamers, and they'd be a lot stricter on people like this girl who had sex. But it's the opposite. They're doing everything possible to be lenient with the girl having sex, while hurting the bigger streamers when they do even the slightest infraction. Very, very shitty situation all around. Just a totally fucked situation. I wanted to talk about it a little bit because I don't understand where Twitch is coming from here at all. And yeah, that's about it. So, yeah.